This is you. You weren't trained to become an entrepreneur. You were trained to be replaceable. The future of the American worker.
AI is affecting jobs.
There have been layoffs.
Amazon employees are reevaluating their futures with a new...
There's more entrepreneurs being created now than ever. And it's not because of chance. It's because it's becoming a necessity.
I think I'm going to start something new.
Never really ever felt like a real business.
Today, you're going to see me start up an e-commerce business.
And deep down, you already know what you need. And no, it's not another motivational speech. It's not a $997 secret system. And it's definitely not a school group that goes dark 2 days after the first welcome post. You need your first win. You need your first customer. You need to make your first $1,000. That way you can say, and that's why we created something called the One Comma Club Challenge.
Get on your feet and welcome to the stage.
My name is Russell Brunson, and I'm the co-founder of a company called ClickFunnels. We've been turning everyday, ordinary people into entrepreneurs for over a decade now. And our mission is simple. Free all entrepreneurs, the dreamers and the doers, so you guys can focus on changing the lives of the people that you've been called to serve. To do that, we build both software and education to have them work together. We don't just support entrepreneurs, we celebrate them. You've probably seen these awards all over on the internet. It's called the 2 Comma Club Award. And the background of most successful entrepreneurs, YouTube videos, Facebook posts, their Instagram pictures. In fact, I believe this is probably the most photographed plaque in the history of all time. But the reality is, you shouldn't be worrying about this. In fact, you don't even want this right now. The real milestone, the unsung hero, the one that nobody ever talks about, but actually the most important is this, the One Comma Club, the first $1,000. So here's what we're doing, the One Comma Club Challenge. 5 days, 2 hours per day, one framework, where we're literally going to walk you step by step through, I believe, is the shortest path to get you your One Comma Club award. No, this is not going to be teaching you all the things like creating a product or how to do e-commerce or how to become an expert or how to write a book or how to do a webinar or how to post on social media or even how to put your face on camera. None of that's necessary because to make your first One Comma Club, you don't need any of those things. In fact, they're all just distractions keeping you from your actual goal. I want to really quickly share with you my story, the very first success I had online, because it was really small, but it was literally the thing that changed everything for me. I had been trying to make money on the internet for a long time. I'd spent almost 18 months going through trainings and trying to build websites and funnels and driving traffic and all sorts of stuff, and nothing worked. Everyone I knew was telling me, like, you're crazy, you should stop, like, why are you doing this, go get a job. The only person that really believed me was my wife. And so she allowed me to keep on trying. And 18 months into it, I finally made my very first sale.
My name's Russell Brunson. I'm Nathan Plone, and we're here from Boise, Idaho to show you how to make potato again.
What's crazy is that first sale for me was only $20. But the reality was that sale changed everything for me. It was the thing that gave me belief. To know that this thing I've been trying for literally a year and a half of my life, the fact that it actually worked, that there was some stranger on the internet who got their credit card out, typed in the digits, and paid me the $20, that gave me belief that this was real. And because of that, every other success I've had afterwards all was based on that one thing because it gave me belief that this would actually work, not for the other people I saw online, but it worked for me. That $20 changed my life. I believe that this thing, the One Comma Club that I'm going to help you to earn, can change your life as well. And once you hit it, we're going to send you one of these because you deserve something you can hold, a symbol and a reminder that says, I did this. On top of that, you're going to get live coaching, we're going to give you funnel templates, offer frameworks, ClickFunnels access to build your funnel, and support from the entire Funnel Hacker community, which, by the way, is literally the most powerful and supportive community on the entire internet. I've been watching as the economy is changing. AI is coming. People are losing their jobs. So if you're tired of feeling scared or letting someone else control your income and your future, I want you to join us for just 5 short days. Your first $1,000 will not make you rich, but it will give you belief. Belief that this actually works, but more importantly, belief that it'll actually work for you. So with that said, welcome to the One Comma Club Challenge. Now let's go get started and earn your first sale.
What's up? Good morning, VIPs. How are you guys doing today? While we were watching the video, I was like reading through the chat and I was thinking how many of you guys already got clients. It says that I got 4 different clients here. We've got, there's like 8 or 9 of you guys who already posted. So if you got somebody who reached out to be a client yesterday, post it in the comments. I want to see how many of you guys actually did the thing. Lanny says I got 2. Nadia says 4. Darren, okay, now it's going fast. Oh my gosh. It looks like most of you guys got at least one or two. Okay, so lead gen, this is the easy, right? The easiest part of the whole game. I know a lot of people in the chats last night were kind of freaking out, like, what do we do with these people now who want us to build something? So don't worry, that's what today's all about. We're gonna be getting that during the general session, and it's gonna be cool. I got a special guest coming up here who's gonna be walking us through a bunch of things. She's gonna show you exactly what to say, how to say it, and then we're also gonna be, as you know, building inside of ClickFunnels. So it's gonna be awesome. Maurice, I got 15 DMs. Some people got none. I have 2 friends. So 3 leads. So we got some that had a lot, some had none. Earl's got someone who's chatting with today at 4 p.m. Anyway, so cool. So don't worry. If you didn't get any, we're going to talk about that today and tomorrow. If you did get some, we'll show you exactly what to do today. So don't stress. It's all good. You're in good hands here. How many of you guys enjoyed yesterday, by the way? Before I jump into my VIP stuff, I'm curious, what was your biggest aha you got from yesterday? I'm hoping you guys had at least 1 or 2 or 10 different ahas, but what was the one thing that was just that thing unlocked the thing I've been struggling with, or helped me understand what I should be doing, or gave me direction, or whatever that thing might be. Okay, so Paul said the simplicity of this is good. Mindset over tactics, understanding how to tell stories. Here's comments. Kale said, cried during the replay, leap of faith to the post, hero's journey, resistance. Okay. Oh, so cool. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed yesterday's session. VIP was really fun for me. It's interesting because, as someone who's coaching marketing and sales, I don't have that much opportunity to talk about some of the personal development stuff, which I think is the most important and the most powerful. And so I appreciate being VIP so I can share some of these really cool things. So today I got 2 fun things to talk about during our time together, and then we'll jump back over to GA session and we're going to start building funnels today, which will be really, really cool. So yesterday I went through the hero's journey with you guys, kind of showed you guys the process, figured out who your why, what your why is, then helps you identify that your why is actually 2 who's, right? Who do you want to become? And then who is the person that you want to serve? Those are the kind of the two who's that make up your why. And hopefully you had a chance yesterday to think about that. One of my favorite exercises is to think about my future self. What does that person look like? In fact, I remember, probably 2 years, I really struggled with sleeping at night. I had some stuff that happened in my life, and it was just, I had a lot of anxiety and nervousness. I go to bed at night tired, and I sit there all night, my brain going a million miles a minute. You guys ever do that? Is it just me? And I can't sleep. I'm I need to sleep. I have a busy day tomorrow. And one day I was reading a book by Neville Goddard, who's one of my favorite, New Thought movement authors from back in the day. And I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically it was before you go to bed at night, instead of thinking about all the tasks you have to do, visualize the end state of where you're trying to get to. And by doing that, your subconscious mind will figure out ways to get you to that thing. And again, it was nighttime. I'm reading this book, well, maybe that'll help me fall asleep tonight. So I remember laying in bed and I thought about what's the thing I'm working towards? What's the purpose I'm working towards? I'm what is that? When I actually achieve that thing, what does it look like, right? And I think about this, when I was wrestling, it was I wanted to be state champ. And it was easy for me because I could visualize my hand getting raised and my dad being excited and seeing my family, my teammates, my coaches, that was easy. But in business, sometimes it's I'm trying to build a business. So what's the end state of that? I don't know, right? For me, it's one of the reasons why we introduced these awards to people, to give you an end state to visualize, right? It's the reason why we have the One Comma Club awards, to give you an end state to be able to visualize, this is what I'm going for. And then the 2 Comma Club and, just different things like that. But for me, again, I was thinking about it. And so a lot of you guys know I've been collecting old books. I'm building this museum, event center, library. And so for me that night when I couldn't sleep, I started visualizing the end state. And so I'd sit there, I would visualize my future self, me in the event center, hanging out with people, reading books and writing books and sharing the stories and the experiences and the stuff that fires me the most. I remember laying there at night just thinking about it, and then I fell asleep. It was great. I actually fell asleep, and I was just thinking about the future self I want to become, right? One of my who's. And it was so cool. And so now whenever I can't sleep at night, even when I can't sleep, when I go to bed, that's what I sit there and I just visualize me sitting in there, what is it? And I try to make it as vivid as possible. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? Is it warm? Is it cold? Just all the different experiences. And what's cool about it, if you get deep into personal development stuff, but by having a very clear picture of where you're trying to get to, your subconscious mind will try to find the answers to get you there while you're sleeping. And while you're, Stephanie talked about yesterday, if you ever notice you get good ideas in the shower, and it's because you're consciously disconnecting, your subconscious mind has the ability to actually talk to you because you're not trying to figure out the problem consciously. You're unconnecting, not thinking about it. All of a sudden, your subconscious is hey, I found the answer 2 hours ago. This is what you need to do. It's really cool. And so, so hopefully that's something you guys can do, but just at night, start start thinking about who it is you want to become in a year from now, 5 years from now, and just like visualize that, make it real. Like, what does that look like? What would it smell like? What would it taste like? And for me, it helps me sleep better at night, and it helps your subconscious mind to start finding the answers and guiding you and directing you in the way to actually be able to achieve those. So anyway, I hope that's kind of fun. Yeah, Christy, I love you talking about subconscious mind. I actually bought subconscious.com, and Andy Grace and I are working on a whole book series and event series called Subconscious Psychology. So it's one of my passions. I geek out about it. Anyway, so that's for another day. Not today, but for VIPs, like some of my fun side projects I'm going on. Okay. So what I want to talk about today, there's two things I want to talk about. So I'm going to go back and forth. The first one, I want to go a little bit deeper on resistance. I mentioned that yesterday in the hero's journey as you're going through, right? And there's a refusal to call, but then afterwards, as you're moving towards your goal, you get hit by resistance. And resistance is obviously, it's one of these things that is, it's something that you like for the rest of your life, you'll always be dealing with this, right? And there's ebbs and flows. There's times in life like you conquer resistance, and it's easy. There's times that you struggle. And so the more we talk about it, the more it's out front and center, the easier it is to recall what to do and how to do it. So we're gonna talk about that. But to lead with, the first thing I have in my notes here is I wanted to ask you guys, what does success mean for you? Like, what is your definition of success? I think if I asked 100 people, I'd probably get 100 different answers. It's fun because I study all the greats of personal development, the Earl Nightingales and the Napoleon Hills and all these people, and they all have a different version of success. Sean just said success equals time freedom. Enjoying my work is success to me. Getting paid for something I enjoy. Success. A whole bunch just popped. Okay, so yes, those are all. These are all. So everyone's got a different definition of success. For a long time, I always thought success meant achievement. Like when I was wrestling, like, if I win a state title, then I'll be successful, right? And I won a state title, and then it was like, now what? And then when I become an All-American, I'll be successful. And then I got an All-American, like, now what, right? And so success was like achievement was interesting, and I always thought achievement was success. But what's interesting is how many people get success and then they're miserable, right? It happens all the time. In fact, the first time I remember seeing it, for me growing up, the biggest dream I could ever even visualize was to win an Olympic gold medal, all right? As a wrestler, it's like, I knew who the gold medalists were. They were, larger than life. That would be the end all be all. And I never got to the Olympics or that level, but I loved Olympics still because of that, right? And I remember in Boise, Idaho, there was a downhill skier, I think, or ski jumper, something who was amazing. Like he was always on the news. He was like, whatever. And he ended up winning the Olympic gold medals. I was just like, this guy achieved the greatest thing you could achieve in this life. In my mind, it was the best. It was like insane. And then within a year, he had committed suicide. And I remember just like, I'd been so confused. I'm like, he had success. He achieved something. He had success. Like, what more could you want in life? And there's a quote that Tony Robbins says. He says, success without fulfillment is ultimate failure. And as an achiever, that hit me hard. I was like, success without fulfillment is ultimate failure, right? So like you could have a goal. I want to make $1 million. I want to build a business. I want to whatever. And you achieve it, but you're not fulfilled. That's ultimate failure. Then you're not happy. So then it got me coming back like, well, what is success then? And I went through trying to read every person's definition. That's why I got so obsessed with buying these books. Like, what does this person think it is? What does this person think it is? And I went through everything. In my mind, it boiled down to two things. And so the equation I have when I think about success is success equals achievement plus fulfillment. Right? How do I achieve something and feel fulfilled? And it's a hard thing for most people. In fact, Tony Robbins calls it the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Right? So you think about science of achievement. Science is very step-by-step formulaic. Like follow these steps and you'll be successful, right? Like everything we'll teach you in this challenge is very much science, right? It's like, you want to build a funnel? Here are the steps. You want to sell a funnel? Here are the steps. You want to get traffic? Here, like it's very step-by-step recipe-based thing, right? Science, the science of achievement. So achievement becomes easy when you realize there's a pattern, there's a map, there's a thing, we're going to follow it, okay? But then the opposite thing Tony says is then there's the art of fulfillment, okay? And so for a lot of people like us who are achievers, who are entrepreneurial, we struggle because we figured out how to get achievement, right? In all areas of our life, and we're successful and all these kind of things, but we struggle being fulfilled. Okay, how many of you guys struggle with fulfillment? Okay, it's something I struggle with. So part of the reason why I keep doing this stuff, because I look like I understand how to get the high from achievement, but like fulfillment's harder for me. Whereas my wife is not achievement driven at all. She's very happy, but she's always fulfilled. She's always happy. Like, I'm just like, like no matter what happens, she's just like happy, and she's always fulfilled. And for me, it's confusing. I'm like, how are you happy? We're not doing anything to achieve. And she's like, because I'm just so happy. And she's always so fulfilled. Like everything she has is more than she ever dreamed of. So she's fine. She wants nothing more. And I envy that. Like I love seeing it in her. And it's like such a contrast for me. And so for me, it's like, I think that true success is the blending of those two things though. So success equals achievement plus fulfillment. And so understanding those two things. And so one of the questions that I asked, like, well, how do I know if I'm fulfilled, or how do I even know, you know what I mean? Like it's it's art. So it's not like step-by-step process. This is art. And Tom Billy, Tom Billy's one of my favorite guys. He said a quote one time. He said, fulfillment is how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. And interesting. So it's like when you're laying in bed at night, it's just you. How do you actually feel about yourself? Like, are you happy? Are you sad? Are you like proud of yourself? Are you like embarrassed of yourself? And I remember when he first said that, I was like, oh, that sounds a little scary. And so I remember the next time, I don't know if my wife went out of town or something, but I'm there in my room by myself. I'm sitting in bed. I'm like, okay, how do I feel? I'm all by myself. How do I feel about myself? And I started thinking, there's some things I'm like, yeah, like I'm the man. I did this good. I did this. Like, and other things I'm like, oh, I'm glad nobody sees that part of me. Oh, I don't like that part of me, And I started thinking through it. I was like, oh my gosh, like it started giving me this lens of like realizing, the things that were keeping me from feeling fulfillment, right? And who I actually wanted to become. And so again, at nighttime, when you're visualizing your future self, spend some time also thinking like, how do you feel about yourself when you're by yourself, and be honest. Don't be brutal. Like, I don't want you like beating yourself up like, oh, no, but like, just being honest. Like, oh, I don't like that I do these things. I do like that I do these things. I wish I did more of this stuff, and like becoming aware of it. And then so you're aware of it. It's not just like this hidden thing where you're just like, I feel depressed all the time. I don't know why. It's like, no, like this is why you don't feel fulfilled. And when you look at that, it's like, oh, there's something I can do about it. I'm aware of it now. Right. Okay. So I want to start with that a little bit, because I think if we're in personal development and we're trying to make ourselves better and stuff like that, if we don't have an angle of what we're trying to look for, it's hard, right? So for me, success is not just making the money, winning the award, whatever. It's doing it while being fulfilled. Like, how do I find actual happiness in the journey and the people I'm working with and the experiences and things like that, right? And I could do a 2-hour class just on my thoughts on that. Unfortunately, I don't have much time, but I wanted to lead with that, because I think if we have the right target that we're shooting towards, it's a lot easier to get towards it, right? So there you go, the definition. You type that in there. Success equals achievement plus fulfillment. All right, that's going to be the premise we go through. Okay, so next I want to talk about resistance. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to draw. This is, actually, where's the undo again? Okay, I'm going to draw this again. I'm going to move down here. Okay. All right. So this is you or me. That's what I kind of look like. So look at the size of my head. Okay. There's me right here. Right. Okay. And in the hero's journey, anything we're trying to pursue and try to move towards, right? There's always directions. There's things that push us this direction, and there's things that push us this direction, right? We talked about, we kind of defined some of these things yesterday. We talked about moving towards this direction is somebody who is driven, right? They're moving forward, and they're moving forward in what? How many of you guys remember what we talked about? Moving forward in faith, right? And faith is interesting. A lot of times talk about faith and people are like, don't get religious. I'm like, I'm not like, yes, there is faith in the religious standpoint. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about faith is like faith in a couple of things. I believe number one is faith in the calling, which maybe that's religious, but like you hear this call to adventure, this journey, this thing that you're trying to pursue that takes you on this path, right? I have faith that calling is from something bigger than myself that helps me to pursue it when something might happen, right? Or like obstacles might come in the way. If I just think like, I want to make $1 million and that's my idea, then when the times get hard, it's easy to kind of back away from that, right? But if I believe that this is the calling, and I do, for me personally, I believe that the business that I have right now is a calling from God, and I've been called to serve a very specific group of people, which are entrepreneurs, to help to free them so they can change lives for the customers they've been called to serve. Like that is my personal mission. That is our company mission at ClickFunnels. Like that is like the North Star that we're pushing towards, right? It's the reason why I don't stop doing this, because this is the thing. And I have faith, number one, in the calling, that it's something bigger than me. It wasn't just something I made up out of my head, but it's important. So I have faith in that, right? So there's like the first faith I have. The second faith I have is in the guide that I pick, right? So like after you start moving forward, we talked about after the refusal of the call, you meet the Yoda, you meet the guide, right? I have to have faith that the guide, the person that I meet on this path, So I'm going to draw a little picture of, there's Yoda with his little map, okay? I don't know how to draw Yoda, but yeah, there's Yoda. So I have to have faith that the person that I chose, who is the guide on this journey, that they have the right map, right? I see this all the time. People come to coaching programs and they'll join me, and then they start going through the process on taking them on a path, and then they'll come back to me and they're like, oh, well, so-and-so said this over here. I was like, okay, but I said this. Like, yeah, but I was listening to this YouTube video. I saw this reel, and they said you could do this. I'm like, I've never met someone who's successful who has two Yodas. Imagine Luke Skywalker goes and Yoda starts training him on the Force, and he's like, this is pretty awesome. And then by night he's over here and he's like watching YouTube videos and he's doing the other stuff. He comes back to Yoda. Hey Yoda, I know that thing where you like levitate. That's cool, but like I saw these guys doing this. I want to do this instead. Yoda would be like, dude, then go follow them. You shouldn't be doing both. Like if you pick a guide, you got to put on blinders and follow everything they say. But you have to have faith in what they're saying. If you don't have faith in what they're saying, you're second guessing things, right? You're not all bought into the process and the system. Then it's hard to be successful, right? So you got to have faith in the calling, faith in the guide you choose. And again, you should only choose one guide. In fact, I had a really cool experience. I was in the airport, that's probably a year ago now. I was at the airport and walking in, there's this young kid runs up to me, and it's kind of, my kids always joke like, oh, dad got spotted. So I got spotted. This kid came out, he's probably 18, 19-year-old kid, runs up to me and he's like, hey, he's like, Russell, can I get a picture with you? So I get a picture, and he's like, do I follow all your stuff? I love it. He's like, do you have 2 minutes to give advice for an 18-year-old kid who's just trying to figure this stuff out? I'm like, yeah, sure, man. He's like, what would be your biggest piece of advice for someone like me? I'm like, well, what are you trying to do? He's like, well, like, I love your stuff. I listen to all your podcasts. I also love real estate. I'm listening to so-and-so and and everything. I'm like, cool. Which one do you like the most? He's like, well, I like all the stuff you're doing. He's like, I really like real estate. And I was like, hey, here's my number one piece of advice for you. I was like, you should unsubscribe from everything that I do. You should stop listening to my podcast and you should focus on the real estate guy. You can't be doing, you don't have two Yodas. They're going to take you in different directions. They both have a map to get you somewhere. But if you try to take two maps, you will get lost or you'll get torn apart. You can't do it. I was like, fire me, pick him, and put on blinders. He's like, whoa, I never thought your advice would be to not listen to you. I'm like, yeah, just pick. I don't care who you pick. Pick somebody and put on blinders and ignore everybody else, right? Because you got to have faith in the Yoda you picked, right? So that's number two. And then number three is you have to learn how to have faith in yourself. And that's a lot of times the hardest thing for somebody to have, right? And what's cool about it, Elsie Lincoln Benedict says in one of her books about, you don't actually have to have faith in yourself initially. If you have faith in the calling and faith in the Yoda, then when you start moving forward and you start seeing success, that will build the faith in yourself, right? And that'll help you to become. But over time, you have to develop faith in yourself. Like, if I decide to do this thing and if I do the steps, I will be successful. Okay. I have so much faith in myself at this point in business. Like, I think I can do anything, right? Because I've had, and there's like ups and downs and failures, all sorts of stuff. But I have faith that I'm either going to do it and have success, or I'm going to figure it out, right? And so that's why I have so much success in business, because I have so much faith in myself at this point. But at first I didn't, okay? So how do you get that faith? You go out there and you try it and you test it and you do a little bit and you do a little bit more and you kind of move on for that, okay? So that's the driven side of the equation, okay? Then the other side of the equation obviously is drifters. Right? And this is people who make their decisions and move based on fear. And so this is this eternal tug of war that's always happening. And resistance is this thing in the middle, right? Every single day, and it's trying to pull you, like resistance wants you to go this way, and you have to fight against it to move back this way, right? And that's the battle that's happening over and over and over again, is that resistance back and forth, okay? Now, there's a quote by C.S. Lewis, who's one of my favorite writers. If you don't know who C.S. Lewis is, he wrote like the Chronicles of Narnia and a whole bunch of amazing other books. So this is the quote he said. Excuse me, drink water and gotten out of the wrong tube. He said, our leisure, even our play, is a matter of serious concern. That is because there's no neutral ground in the universe. Every square inch, every split second is claimed by God and counterclaimed by Satan. I thought it was so interesting. So every second is claimed between these two things, right? It's claimed by God and counterclaimed by Satan. So every second of your life, it's one or the other. Like, you're always making decisions. Faith, fear. Like, it's always happening back and forth. It's kind of interesting. It's not like, oh, I'm driven now. I always just make, like, no, every single day. This morning, my alarm went off, 4:50, right? Turn off the alarm. And I'm just like, oh, I am so tired. I got to speak today. I deserve a couple hour nap, right? Trying to drift, like, it's just that same thing happens every single day, multiple times throughout the day. Leading up to this, working on slides. I was here at the office last night till almost midnight working on a slide presentation for the session. Like it's just like this constant thing. And it's like, your natural instincts is want to drift, and you have to like choose faith, choose move forward every time over and over and over again. Okay. Now, okay. So, my goal right now is to help you guys to understand some of the nature of resistance, so you become more and more aware of it, right? Because most people, this is happening their whole life, and they're not even aware these things are happening, right? They're just kind of living life, whichever direction pulls them harder that day is where they're at, right? So like some people like, this is a New Year's resolution, they're driven for like a week and a half going to the gym, and then they slip back and they're drifting for 9 months, and then they something happens, they get, and they're just kind of like at the ebbs and flows of the world because they're not aware of it, right? You start becoming aware of it, and you're like, okay, there's this thing, it's a tangible thing, it's resistance, and it's trying to move me either this direction or this direction, right? So here's resistance. When you become aware of this, you become aware of the enemy, it gives you the ability to know how to combat it, how to fight it, right? So I'm going to give you guys a couple things. So the first thing, I shared this quote yesterday, but so Stephen Pressfield in his book War of Art, he says that he says resistance is the negative force in the world that keeps you from fulfilling your dreams. Okay. So the goal of resistance is to create what he calls the unlived life. Okay. So, the unlived life is like, there's two versions of your life, right? There's a life that like you were called to do, that like you're capable of, your divine potential. Like that's the life you were supposed to do. And then there's the unlived life, which a lot of times looks very, very similar. But he said with the unlived life, he said, this is the athlete who doesn't compete, the writer who doesn't write, the painter who doesn't paint, an entrepreneur who's never actually started their own business, right? It's the person who knows that's the thing they're supposed to do, they're called to do, they never do it, right? So that's the first thing. And then he goes on to say, and this is the quote I shared yesterday, the secret that real writers know that wannabe writers don't. And the secret is this: it's not the writing part that's hard. What's hard is sitting down to write. What keeps us from sitting down is resistance, okay? Like that's the key. The secret that real funnel hackers know that wannabe funnel hackers don't know is that it's not the building the funnel that's hard. You'll see today, it's really easy, right? It's the sitting down to actually build the funnel. Like just sit down and do the work, right? And resistance is the thing that keeps you from sitting down. Okay. And so that's kind of this thing with resistance. So the goal of resistance is to get you to drift, right? Resistance is going to push you and it's trying to get you over here to this side. Because when you're drifting, then you're like internally, like your body, like you conserve calories, you're not working so hard, like all these things to sustain life, right? That's what your body and your brain is trying to do. Like if you have to do this stuff, it's going to be hard, it's going to take a lot of calories, it's going to work really hard. And so your body, everything inside you is programmed to get you to conserve energy, conserve calories, right? And so it's like our natural man is somebody who's supposed to be moving towards drifting, right? So that's how we always kind of fall back into it, right? Okay, so the question then is like what are the tools the resistance uses to get us to over here? And there's a lot of them. There's a couple that are important. So the first, and I'm going to share a couple lies. So the first one, so number one is lie number one, okay? Lie number one that resistance give us is procrastination, okay? And procrastination is a very sneaky one because it's not like, I'm not going to do that thing. It's, I am going to do that thing later, right? Mañana, tomorrow I'll do it. Okay. So resistance will get us to lie to ourselves like, oh, well, I'm still going to work out. I'll just do it in an hour from now. Oh, I'm still going to build that funnel. I'll just do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll just do it. Like, so it doesn't say, no, I'm not going to do this thing. It's like, yeah, we'll totally do that thing. Yeah, we'll do it later. Right. And so lie number one is procrastination. So if you ever feel yourself procrastinating, that's resistance pulling you back. Right. So you got to become aware of like, I'm procrastinating. This is resistance, means I need to do this thing. Okay. All right, lie number two. This one's really interesting. He calls this one in the book, he calls this the shadow calling. Okay. So a lot of people in the shadow calling is a metaphor for the real calling. So if you're calling, in fact, the story he tells is his calling was to be a writer. He wanted to write books. Okay. But instead he got a job as a copywriter. Now, it's funny because I love copywriting. I think copywriting is even harder than writing. But for Stephen Pressfield, he did not like writing copy. He did not like doing these kind of things, right? And so he's like, if you look at this, he's like, they look similar in both situations I'm writing. One, I'm writing advertising copy for other people. So I'm doing the thing. So it's like, it's a metaphor for my real calling. But my real calling is me actually becoming the writer I'm supposed to be, right? Stepping out into the limelight where there's fear and there's risk and all those kind of things. Okay. So second lie is he's going to try to trap you in a shadow calling. And it's tough because the shadow calling is going to look very, very similar to what you're doing. You're like, I'm doing basically the same thing. I'm just doing it for somebody else. I'm not doing it for myself, right? The problem with the shadow calling is there is no risk. Okay. If you fail, there's no consequences, or those consequences are actually meaningless to you. Right. And so that's kind of the thing. Versus if you fail with your real calling, there are real consequences that mean a lot to you, which is why it's so scary and it's so hard, right? Okay, so that's lie number 2. Lie number 3. This one's really interesting. Lie number 3, it tries to trick you with pleasure instead of fulfillment. Okay, remember we talked earlier about success is achievement plus fulfillment? So what resistance will try to do is it's going to try to trick you. It's going to make you think that you are getting fulfillment, but it's going to give it to you through pleasure versus true fulfillment, okay? There's always a shadow version of everything. So if you look at this, like the driven version of things versus the drifter versions, right? I have a couple in my notes, right? One of them, probably the most powerful one, like you get true fulfillment in a marriage is marriage with your spouse, like happiness, fulfillment, like living, like all these kind of things, right? That's like true fulfillment, right? But it's hard. You have to figure out how to be driven. You have to move forward in faith. You have to do all sorts of stuff to be able to have a relationship like that, right? But when you do, like, it's one of the ultimate fulfillment is relationship with your spouse, with your partner, right? So the drifter version of that, right? The one that is pleasure is just pornography. Pornography, you get the same things. Like they're almost the same, right? Just like being a copywriter versus writing your own books, like having a great relationship with your spouse or viewing pornography. The feelings are the same, but one is based on pleasure and one's based on fulfillment. Okay. Social media versus reality, reading a book versus actually doing the thing, going to school. I have friends who have gone to school, have gotten like 5 or 6 master's degrees because they're too scared to go do the thing because they love this. Like, oh, this is more safe over here, right? There's no risk if I fail. And so they go to school and they never actually start. Okay. No fulfillment is the reward without actually doing the work. Okay. So that's one of the key things to understand. Like these are the lies that it's trying to get you to believe. And the last lie number 4, is when you move from just like resistance to full sedation. Sedation. Sedation is basically where you've given up. You're like, I just do this now. I come home every day. I'm in pain. I'm going to drink it away. I'm going to look at pornography. I'm going to eat it away. Like you're in so much pain. You just given up and you're trying to sedate yourself from the pain. And this is the most, I think the saddest when someone gets to this state. It's interesting. I've showed a couple of video clips earlier from Garrett White, one of my friends, and Garrett White, his whole mission, his company's called Wake Up Warrior, and his job, his calling, he told me over and he's like, my job is to wake men up from sedation. He's like, they're living in a lie where they've gone through their whole life, right? The young, they had dreams, they had visions, they got a job and they got married and then they just kind of fell in this thing and like, they're like, well, this is my life for the rest of my life. And then they sedate themselves to get out of the pain through drinking, through alcohol, through pornography, through food, through like whatever the addiction is, so they don't have to deal with the fact that their dreams they had, right? The calling that they know is true, that they gave up on it. And that's lie number 4 is one's the most scary. Most of you probably aren't in that if you wouldn't be here, but you probably know people who are completely sedated. And maybe you are. Maybe this is how on the weekends, different places. You know, a lot of people know that I don't drink and they're like, you know, oh, this is like a religious thing. I'm like, it is initially, but man, it's because I do not want to sedate myself. Like I do not want to be giving into that spot where I'm just like, okay, I'm done. Like, let me step away. So, anyway, all right. The last, so these are the lies of resistance. When you start becoming more and more aware of those things, it's just like, okay, these are the things I got to start understanding. So I'll walk through this one more time. If you guys want to write them in the comments as well, just so you've got them. Lie number 1 is procrastination. Lie number 2 is pleasure, not fulfillment. Lie number 3 is, I missed it. Sorry. Lie number 1 is procrastination. Lie number 2 is shadow calling. Lie number 3 is pleasure, not fulfillment. Lie number 4 is sedation into full drifting. Okay. So, how to beat resistance. This is the last thing. And then I got one other thing I'm going to share with you guys, this unrelated to this, but, so last question is, how do you beat resistance? Okay. You have to understand that, that drifting is circular by nature, right? It's like you're sitting this thing, you're just kind of like doing the things every day. I'm doing the things, right? It's like circular. Whereas driven is directional based. It has a cost. You're moving towards something, right? So those are 2 kind of things. Now, if you look at like the way that our brains are developed to do a couple things. Number 1 is to avoid pain, to seek pleasure, and to conserve energy and to prove itself right. Confirmation bias. So those are the 4 things. Okay. So our brain's like, how do I avoid pain? Okay. jumping into a coaching program where you have to go build funnels and talk to other people, that causes a lot of pain. Your brain is going to try to hit you with resistance and give you procrastination or shout, anything you can do, because that is scary, right? There's a lot of pain associated with starting a business, right? It's scary. So it's going to try to get you not to, okay? Number 2 is to seek pleasure, okay? You can get pleasure, okay? But it's going to be through fulfillment. It's going to be hard. It's the harder way to get pleasure, but it turns into true fulfillment. Where your brain's like, where's pleasure? What's the fastest way? Where's the quickest dopamine hit? Oh, drugs, alcohol, pornography. Boom, I get the dopamine hit in 5 seconds. So your brain's like, trying to avoid pain and seek pleasure, trying to conserve energy. Don't do crazy things. Like, instead conserve energy so you don't burn your calories up. So it's going to have you hide and shrink and not do things. And then it's going to try to prove itself right. Like, oh, I already know this. I already know everything, right? Confirmation bias. So that's what our brain wants to do by default, right? And all those things are pushing us towards this, right? Being a drifter, moving forward with fear, sedating ourselves, hiding, right? So that's all the things resistance is doing. Now, for us to beat resistance, we have to do the opposite of that, okay? Instead of avoiding pain, we have to move out of our comfort zone over and over and over again. How many of us feeling it right now? You realize, if I'm going to be successful with this, I cannot avoid pain. I have to step into pain, okay? I have to do things that I do not feel comfortable doing. Okay. That's the reality. That's how you become successful. Okay. You can't seek pleasure. Instead, you have to delay gratification and allow it to build up. Okay. So instead of slipping to like, where's the easy hit of dopamine? It's like, no. To be successful, you have to avoid, you have to delay gratification. Gratification will come after the trial, after I finish the thing is when I will get my pleasure. Okay. But not immediately. Okay. Instead of conserving energy, like, oh, I'm going to conserve my energy, we have to take massive action, uncomfortable action, doing things we don't normally do, right? Massive action. And then the last one, again, our brain wants us to prove itself right, confirmation bias. We have to do the opposite and question our beliefs and our assumptions. We have to become teachable. We have to be a student. We have to listen to other people. We have to learn and to grow. Okay. So all the 4 things your brain is trying to do to protect you, you have to do the opposite to be successful, to be driven, to be able to have success. Okay. So that's how you beat resistance. I know it's like, woo, that's intense. Okay. But it's the key. So my assignment for you guys to think about is coming back to, like, what is this calling? What is the thing you're trying to pursue? Right? Do you have faith that it's coming from something higher? Okay. Do you have faith in the guide who's taking you on the journey? Okay. That's what I'm here for. So you've got those things. If you have faith in me, that's the first step. Okay. And faith in this calling. And then we're going to help you earn faith in yourself by doing the process. Okay. And now, you know, every single day, every single step along the way, from now, from weeks from now, from a year, from 2 years, from 5 years, you're going to be going back and forth, and the resistance is going to be hitting you. Resistance is going to try to get you to avoid pain, seek pleasure, conserve energy, and prove itself right. Okay. And it's going to do that by lying to you through procrastination, pleasure not fulfillment, the shadow calling, and sedation. Okay. And instead, you have to say no to those things, no to those lies. They are not true. I will not procrastinate. I'm not going to settle for my shadow calling. I'm not going to seek pleasure over fulfillment. I'm going to go for true fulfillment. And I'm not going to sedate. And instead, we got to go from avoiding pain to moving out of our comfort zone. We have to go from seeking pleasure to delaying gratification. We have to go from conserving energy to taking massive action, and then question our beliefs and become a teachable student. And if you do that, we can mold you into whatever it is you want to become. Okay. That's what's exciting. Yeah, it's a little hard, it's a little scary, but I promise you, if you step into this and you look at it through that lens, it can change everything for you. So I hope that was helpful. Was that helpful, going a little bit deeper into resistance for you guys? I hope so. Again, go read The War of Art. Half of the stuff is like from my head, half is from Stephen Pressfield. Stephen Pressfield was the catalyst for me to go deep into this stuff and get excited and kind of figure it out. That book's really fun, easy to read. I think you'll love it. Okay, we got about 10 more minutes here. I had one last kind of concept I wanted to share with you guys, and this one I don't need to do this one. I'll just be more just us talking to camera. So I had a friend I grew up with in high school, middle school and high school. And, after you graduate, I hadn't seen him for 20 some odd years. And I followed him on Facebook, and I saw him on Facebook. He was posting, he was just struggling to make money for him and his family and all sorts of stuff. And like, I felt for him. I didn't really know him that well. I hadn't talked to him in 20 years. And finally one day I was like, I should say something. So I messaged him on Facebook. I was like, hey, I know you're struggling, man. Like, I know why you're struggling. If you want to know, it's because you don't understand how things work, how money works. I think he was telling me he's making like 25 grand a year. He's got like 4 or 5 kids, and it was like, this is the whole thing. I'm just like, he doesn't understand how money works. That's why he's struggling, and how business works, how value works, right? And money follows how much value. The more value you create, the more money you can make in something. And so I messaged him. I'm like, I think you're looking at this wrong. Can I help you? And he's like, sure, I love help. And so I told him, I was like, hey, I'm actually I'm actually going on a family vacation, but I'll try to record a podcast episode for you. I'm going to post on my podcast, so it kills two birds with one stone, but it's for you. And so I remember the next night, I was my daughter at the time couldn't fall asleep. So I put her in the car, and I was driving around the lake that we were staying at, and for an hour on my phone, I just recorded this podcast interview. And I never thought about this before, but this is what came out of it, and I think it'd be useful for a lot of you guys as well. So basically, if you look at like just the job force or businesses as a whole, right? It's like, where's the money made in these things, right? And a lot of times, especially for people like us on the outside, right? Hey, the number one is like, there's an entrepreneur, right? And I mean, in fact, how many of you guys want to be entrepreneurs? If you are, type in entrepreneur. It's such a hard word to type in of all the things. Type in entrepreneur. Okay. If you're an entrepreneur, it's like a lot of people, especially people like us, we want to be entrepreneurs. Like, so you look at entrepreneurs, like, look, I'm an entrepreneur. There's no ceiling. I can make as much money as I want, right? That's the big thing. Okay. So that's the positive parts of being an entrepreneur. The downside of being an entrepreneur is you also have 100% of the risk, which is kind of scary, right? But the entrepreneur in a business organization typically will be the person that makes the most amount of money, okay? Because they have no ceiling, but they also have all of the risk, okay? They have to risk, just everything. I look at like just ClickFunnels, for example. Like I have the risk of, the employees, the stats, the marketing claims, like there's so much risk that comes with all of it, right? So you have all those, but those are the two things. But in theory, if you're able to figure out how to do the process, the entrepreneur's got to be able to have unlimited earning power, right? Okay, so that's the first person inside of a business. Okay. The next person is like the manager, right? The manager is going to be managing all the other people. Okay. And so the manager's in there, and the manager, they don't have any risk really, right? So they have no risk, but because they have no risk, they have a ceiling. So like a good manager is going to make anywhere from 80 to maybe 150 grand a year, but you're kind of capped into that, right? But that's how much a manager can make. So if you come in as a manager, it's like, well, you have no risk, never worry, but you're kind of capped out as well, but you have a ceiling on your earning, right? So that's that situation right there. Then the third personality type is the technician. This is the person who's actually doing the work, right? And what's interesting is like the technician is the one who in society is like the glorified one, right? It's like, he's a doctor, he's an accountant, he's a lawyer, right? Like it's the person who's actually sitting down doing the work, and so they're the ones typically that society looks at as like the highest, right? Oh, that person's a doctor. He's actually doing the work, getting his hands dirty, right? And the person's technician, again, if they're really good, they can make good money, but there's always a ceiling as a technician, right? There's never unlimited earning potential. There's always a ceiling, but there's no risk, right? You go to college, you get the degree, you come in, and then you do the thing, and you get paid whatever it is based on the skill set you learn and how valuable that is to a business, right? So those are kind of the three things. There's the entrepreneur, the managers, and the technicians. So these are the three kind of people, right? And so if you want to make more money, it's like, well, how to make money in this thing, right? It's like, I got to start my own business, which yes, in theory, you got to start your own business because that gives you unlimited earning potential, right? But then you also have to take on all the risk of it. And so I told my friend, I said, there's one other personality type, and nobody talks about this one, but this is one that's probably the most powerful. This is the one that's probably the most unique, okay? And the reality is that most people look down on this profession, okay? In fact, if you look at, I had a video I was going to show, but maybe I'll see if I can find it for tomorrow and show you guys. But anyway, it's like if you look at growing up, I remember I was telling people like, I'm an entrepreneur, I do sales, I do whatever. But like, oh, they kind of like, they poo-poo like, oh, what do you like, why would you do that? Like my son-in-law is a doctor. You're like, oh, he's a doctor, he's a banker. Like they have these, they look at technicians as these higher elevated statuses. But this other one is actually like, I think the coolest one. And so what I call this person, I call them the rainmaker. Okay. And again, yesterday we talked a little bit about becoming a rainmaker, but a rainmaker is somebody who can come into a business, right? And they can make it rain. So somebody who's really, really good at sales can come into a business, they can pick up a phone and they can make it rain. They can make money happen, right? They come into a business and they can generate leads and they can make it rain. Okay. Now the rainmaker is really interesting because the rainmaker has the ability to exponentially grow how much money the company makes, right? Not just like a technician doing their job, but someone comes in and they can 10x, 100x, 500x the amount of value, the amount of money that's being made inside of a company, right? A funnel builder is a good example of a rainmaker. And the coolest thing about it is the rainmaker has the best of both worlds, okay? The rainmaker comes in and they have no earning potential. Like our salespeople, like I don't say to salespeople, you can make up to, 20 grand a month and that's it. I'm like, you can make as much as you want. You're getting a percentage of the sales. So if you want to make $1 million a month, that's great because that means I just made $10 million that month, right? Like I will give you as much as you want. You have no ceiling on it at all, right? So the rainmaker comes in, again, if I come into a company and I'm like, I can build you a funnel, and they're like, well, how much is it going to cost me? And I'll do it for free. I just want 20% of all the new revenue I bring to you, right? I come in and make it rain. They will pay me $10 million a month if I'm able to do that because there's no ceiling, because I'm bringing in new business, new money. I'm a rainmaker, right? Okay. So that's the one thing. Rainmakers have no ceilings. But the second thing is a rainmaker has no risk. Okay. The entrepreneur has the risk of everything. The business fail. As a rainmaker, I come in. If it doesn't work, I can leave. Right? So I get the best of both worlds, no risk and no earning potential. Okay. That's why the skill set that we are teaching and training you guys on over these days is to become a rainmaker, where you can walk into any business and you have unlimited earning potential to come into these organizations, but you don't have the risk of having to hire employees and staff and taxes and IRS and FTC and FDA and all that. You don't have any of that. You come in and you make it rain and you have no earning potential. Okay. I think some people are looking at oh, funnel builder, I don't know if that's that good of a, there's other things that we could do, or there's better ways to make money. It's like, no, you don't understand. This is the best way. And yes, eventually, if you want, you can take on risk and start a business, and the skill set you're learning will help equip you for that. But if I'm coming in at the beginning of my career, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to get a skill set that I can make it rain, and I can go to any business in the world and be like, hey, I can apply my skill set and I will give you free money. Okay. I will give you free leads. I will give you free traffic. I'll make money. And if you can do that, people will pay you whatever you want. Okay. And so that's what I wanted to share, is just shifting that mindset. It's like, don't try to become the best technician in doing something. Don't try to become the best manager. Someday if you want to become an entrepreneur, that's awesome. But in this window of the season of your life, become a rainmaker, master the skill set of funnel building, then master how to get traffic, and master a couple of these skill sets. And you can walk in and you can write your own check in any organization. So, all right, is that helpful for you guys? Yeah. Very cool. Okay. I'm already overtime for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed VIP. I had a lot of fun. What we're going to do is we're going to take a 15-minute break or so, and then we're going to start general session, which will be really fun. Tomorrow will be the same thing. We'll have VIP in the morning. And then tomorrow during general session, we're going deep into selling. I got some cool guests coming in. It's going to be really, really fun. And then again, Thursday's AI day, and then Friday is going from 1 comma to 2 comma, which will be helping you take this skill set you're mastering. How do you leverage that? And there's a lot of ways to leverage it. Leveraging it to help other businesses, like we've talked about, building an agency, we help a lot of businesses, or taking the skill set and launching your own business. All of these are great options that we'll walk through on Friday. But right now, it's all about learning and mastering the skill set. So in 15 minutes, when we come back, we're going to be focused on funnel building. It'll be a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you. So Following said, isn't a funnel builder technician? Depends how you position yourself. If you go get a job as a funnel builder, yeah, you're a technician. Okay. If you come into a company and say, look, this is what I can do for you. I can generate leads. Let me build you a lead funnel that'll generate leads. One of my favorite mentors back in his name is Jay Abraham. Jay Abraham was one of the wealthiest consultants I met, and he's really smart. He's a rainmaker. So he comes into business. He's like, how much are you making now? They're like, $10 million a year. He's like, cool. I don't want any of that money. That's all your money. I'm going to come in. I'm going to apply my magic tricks, right? And I'm going to grow it. And I want 20% of the increase. He'll come to a company and he'll apply his stuff, and he'll get it from 10 million to 30 million. So he made him extra 20 million. He gets 10% or 20% of that. So he pulls out $3 or $4 million by making it rain. And so, yes, this is all about positioning and posturing. If I'm going to a company, and again, we'll talk about this as on Sales Day on Wednesday also, but it's like, I'm not trying to get a job as a funnel builder. I'm a funnel builder, and you're going to hire me or put me on retainer. I'm going to be doing these things for you, right? So it's a different way to position it that shifts it from being a technician to actually being a rainmaker. So great question. All right, guys, I appreciate you all. We're going to end right now, and I'll see you guys back here in about 12 minutes during general session. Thanks, everybody. Bye.